Okay. Looks good.
Alrighty, we have gotten things started, and things have not immediately exploded, so we should be all good to go for another Sunday afternoon Sound Goblin Super Robot Sunday here at Sound Goblin Gaming. Getting started a little late here because we actually had a little bit of housekeeping to do before we get into this next set, since we were all in space last time, but this time around we're going to be starting ground, so we had to redo a little bit of our team composition. I am, as always, Bograt.
I am Krampus.
I'm Shiv.
And I'm Vincent. And, go ahead. Okay. And asking the obligatory question, what the hell is Missing Link?
Yeah, so today we're going to be getting started on Missing Link. This is probably going to take 2 sessions just because this is like 5 or 6 missions. And realistically, we're only going to get through like 2 or 3 per session. So, Missing Link, well, what is Missing Link is a little bit of a complicated question because there are 2 different things that are Missing Link. This one is primarily actually Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story Missing Link, which is the actual video game. It was a PS3 game. It was, I want to say, the first PS3 Gundam game, I believe.
I believe that's right.
It is primarily comprised of a series of side stories related to the One Year War, because of course it's related to the One Year War. And the conclusion actually takes place well past that point.
The conclusion is post Double Zeta.
Yeah, the conclusion is way far in the future from this point. But the idea for Missing Link itself, I mean, obviously we'll get to a lot of the story beats here, but it was a penal battalion, actually, called the Slave Wraiths, and sort of their involvement in the Federation. Basically, the Federation was losing so many pilots and didn't really have enough experienced pilots that they essentially formed a penal legion of mobile suit pilots called the Slave Wraiths.
Well, the Slave Wraiths were also technically the pet project of Evil Man Graves.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Also, as an aside, I love how every single one of these has to go over the backstory for the One Year War every single time.
1 Year War's happening, Garma died, stuff occurred, Xeon attack.
A lot of it is setting context of like exactly
when in the One Year War. Yeah.
That being said, with Missing Link, we will be jumping around to multiple different things in the One Year War, as tends to happen with almost every side story. It turns out that this team was also involved in every major battle of the One Year War. The big thing that's actually quite important about Missing Link, and kind of leads to a lot of interest in Missing Link, is that it involves not only the Slave Wraiths, it also involves Marcosius, which is a basically a Xeon Omega company, sort of. They're a dumping ground for all of Xeon's like shitty, like hyper-violent or uncontrollable pilots to just be thrown into Marcosius. And also the Pale Rider, which is a very, very popular suit, is from Missing Link.
So popular that manga have spun off like 3 variants of it.
Yep. And that being said, then there is also the manga series, which is Mobile Suit Gundam Missing Link, which
spun off a bunch of Pale Rider variants.
Did spin off a bunch of Pale Rider variants. It both is and is not the same story as the game Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story Missing Link.
Like, obviously it deviates in places because there weren't
14 Pale Riders.
Four total Pale Riders. There was only 1.
Yeah. But yeah, there is. It follows most of the same story beats, but obviously has some variations, some differences. But that being said, the game here is following the actual video game timeline, not the manga timeline.
Yeah, like we only have the base Pale Rider will show up.
Yeah.
The Dulahan and the other 2 variants won't appear.
Yeah, technically the Totus Ritter, which is a derivation of the Pale Rider, but that's the many years in the future section.
Post-time skip.
So once again, we were playing the video game of the video game.
Pretty much. I mean, again, that's typically what's going to happen. In
I know. It's that doesn't not make it amusing.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, the actual video game, the base video game for Missing Link, was you basically got 3 units to deploy in every mission and kind of did some stuff. It was an alright game.
What genre was it, actually? Because I keep forgetting to ask when it comes to a lot of these.
I want to say it's like semi-action.
Yeah, it's a... What genre does it define itself as?
third-person shooter?
Yeah, probably the best way to put it. Like,
Okay.
the most comparable thing would be like a third-person shooter. It doesn't quite fill in all the gaps of exactly what it is.
If you
but,
had to pick one, third-person shooter probably works.
that being said, Missing Link is sort of a common point for Shiv and I, in that Shiv really likes the Pale Rider, and one of my favorite One-Year War variant suits is in here as well, because Bandana Man here gets his own custom pixie.
Do you remember when we talked about how there were multiple pixies?
Yeah. One of the many Gundams deployed during the 1 Year War.
Yeah. We'll also
There are
see-
explicitly 3 pixies.
We'll also see another weird Xeon suit in this one, the Bishop.
Yes, the Bishop, which is like a prototype Saikamu Zaku. But that is also one of the disgustingly overpowered new type pilot on our team, Anna Rose, is from Missing Link.
Yeah. She pilots the Bishop.
Yeah. I actually really like pretty much all the characters from Missing Link, both
Missing Link
Fetty,
is
both
solid
Fetty and
basically all
Xeon
the way
side.
through.
Yeah.
It also did get, let's talk about the game, got a re-release on PS4, I want to say.
Yeah, it was
like
like
a compilation of
yeah,
like
I
2 or
got it.
3 other side story games.
Yeah, they did a big compilation thing on PS4 that was like Missing Link. I think Encounters in Space may have also been in that pack-in.
I don't remember the other
I
games
don't
over
remember,
there.
but there's
but
there's
it's
a
like
whole
3 or
thing.
4 games altogether.
Yeah. A bunch of the side story games.
So if you
basically
want to
got,
play
like,
a bunch of
remaster
Gundam side
re-release.
story games, look for the PS4 like Gundam side story combo Missing Link thing.
Yeah, Fred Raver here does get his own custom pixie. That is the third pixie because the other 2 are from the base Battlefield record. But his gets a custom paint job and is specifically known as Fred Raver's pixie. He has his own symbol and everything.
And later on in events that I don't know if are covered here, he also has a custom Efreet,
I believe so, yes.
which shows up in Unicorn.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it actually shows up in the Unicorn missions that we'll go through.
Yeah, that being, I don't think Raver's Efreet is in this. I'm pretty sure the only pilot custom Efreet that's in this is Doug Schneid. Yes, Doug Schneid's Efreet, not to be confused with the Efreet Schneid.
Yep, different.
Just to be confusing.
Well, because Doug Schneid's Efreet was a regular Efreet that Doug Schneid specifically customized,
Yeah.
the Efreet Schneid was an Efreet variant specifically made based on the specifications that Doug Schneid had for his Efreet. So the Efreet Schneid came after Doug Schneid's Efreet.
Also, customizations for these things cannot come cheap. Like, just the amount of paint you're using.
Yeah, that being said, while Fred Raber does get his own custom pixie, I like Raber's pixie. I like the other pixie pilot better, if nothing else than because his name is Bork Cry.
So what is the difference between the Pixie and the original?
So the pixie is specifically, and we talked about this, 2 years ago when we did Battlefield Record when the initial shows up. The Pixie is actually specifically a close combat variant of the initial 78. It was an experimental variant specifically designed for Amuro Ray. Because it was a close combat focus. It actually has beam daggers rather than a beam sword. And its primary ranged weaponry are actually like bullpup SMGs rather than like a beam rifle because it is designed for more close quarters combat. It has much higher mobility than the base 78 with actually slightly lower armoring, but not actually significantly so. It's still going to be tough as shit because it's still a Gundam and still made to Gundam specifications. But it was a extreme high mobility type designed for close combat, which is something that Amuro Ray actually excelled in, but didn't really come up that often because the base 78-2 wasn't designed as a particularly specialized suit. It was just supposed to be kind of a general all-purpose, mobile suit. so it didn't have high specialization. But in theory, that's when you get to, it's kind of ironic. As he got older, Amuro technically became better at being like a ranged combatant. Just because he started relying more on his new type abilities that he had developed significantly. Whereas when he was more unconsciously using his new type abilities, it was more reactive, which meant he was better at getting in close, dodging things, being able to sort of dance around, stuff like that. Specifically the things that Char Aznable was actually particularly noted for.
Yeah.
To the point where Char Aznable custom suits in these games typically have a kick that is unique to those suits. Like if you have Char's Zaku 2 versus the regular Zaku 2, Char's Zaku 2 has a one-range kick attack that the regular Zaku 2 does not. Because Char would just accident things. That's that's what he did.
Yeah.
This is not even like a fan theory joke. Char Aznable is actually specifically upset that the Zeong doesn't have legs.
Doesn't have legs.
This actually comes up in 0079.
Yeah.
When he's being shown the Zeong, he is upset that it does not have legs. And that is the reason why the perfect Zeong is literally just the Zeong with legs.
Perfect Zeon is in this game.
It is.
He gets a kick.
It does get a kick. There is also the Great Zeong, which is just fucking weird.
The Great Zeon. Which I think we had for a little bit.
We did.
Years and years ago.
We actually took that on path to the Neo Zeong.
That was a G generation.
Yes, the Great Zeong is a G generation original unit. Sort of a theorized, like, okay, what's the next step on the Zeong development chain? They tend to do that a lot.
Somewhere between the Zeong and the nonsense that is the Neo Zeong.
Basically, except at the time they initially made the Great Zeong, I don't think the Neo Zeong actually existed. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like a, how do we get from here to here? It was more a sense of like, if they were going to develop the Zeong further past the perfect Zeong, what would it look like? And the answer is apparently like a fucking Chaos Space Marine.
Or a really stumpy, derpy version of the Kshatriya.
Yeah.
That hadn't been thought of either. Yes.
Yes, no, it is not an instance of another G-Gen original, which to me is still probably the single funniest G-Generation original design. The Gundam Mark IV.
Gundam Mark IV.
So the Gundam Mark IV is exactly what you are asking about. Because canonically, there was a Gundam Mark III and a Gundam Mark V. There was not a canonical Gundam Mark IV. And G-Gen was like, what?
What's that?
But what? And so they made the Gundam Mark IV, which is a G-Gen original, which is intended to bridge the gap between the Mark III and the Mark V, and yet doesn't actually particularly look like either of them.
This is also one of the other things the slave race used for, quote unquote, digging out the rot that exists in the Federation, while also working absolutely for an evil Federation officer who keeps their entire thing secret.
Yep.
So
they are a Penal Legion Black Ops Internal Affairs Special Forces team. Shut up, don't ask questions.
No. So what you're saying is they're designed so they can fight both Federation and Zeon forces and have plot reasons to do so.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the idea of a legion whose sole duty is to weed out the corruption in the Federation.
Well, it's not their sole duty.
No.
Their sole duty is do whatever evil man says.
Do whatever Graves tells
Yes,
them
but
to do.
if one of their duties is to clean out the rot in the Federation, that's kind of like airdropping someone into the Sahara Desert with a bucket and says, clean up all this sand for me.
Well, you see, the thing you have to understand is that they're not supposedly intended to clean up all the rot in the Federation. They're only doing to clean up the rot that doesn't benefit Graves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you do have to keep in mind, the entire backing of the slave race is they are under the command of actually probably one of the most evil people in the Federation during the 1 Year War.
Yeah. The other important thing to note about Graves is that Graves is also the person behind the Pale Rider being made and sends the Pale Rider to kill the slave race.
Graves is fucking foul. Like, I am not being facetious when I say, of canonical, like, Federation command we know in the 1 Year War, he is easily in the top 1% of the most vile people.
He's just like, remember that Blue Destiny plan?
Okay, what if we took all the data from when we shoved the soul of a forsaken new type into a computer system, and it did nothing but scream constantly? And what if we instead digitized that so it was fully computer-controlled AI, but also could just take over the pilot? And literally use the pilot as a fucking meat machine.
It's good to
So this was maybe ethically questionable up until the take over the pilot part, in which case you have just crossed into straight evil.
They try to pretend very briefly that this is an unintended side effect of the Hades system, and it very quickly becomes evident, no, this was always the plan. This was always the plan to be like, oh no, we can just take like penal legionnaires and like other people that we are basically, you know, conscripting into military service and shove them into this thing, because we can't exactly build robotic bodies for the AI to utilize in order to pilot this suit for reasons here and there. There's a whole thing with, they are actually constantly trying to develop mobile suits that can be fully operated by AI, and very occasionally succeed, but not until well past the 1-year war era. But at this time, at the very least, they have the ability to develop AI, but they can't have it actually fully operate the mobile suits. So the Hades system was straight up like well, what if we just instead gave the AI the ability to basically directly manipulate the human body of the pilot as a meat machine to operate the mobile suit? What do you mean it basically tears their body apart and destroys their brain? I don't fucking care. They're a penal legion.
It's good to know that the proud tradition of nobody above the level of ensign in the Federation can be trusted unless their last name is.
It's worth remembering that in 79, Bright is an ensign.
Yep.
Right.
And also, General Rebel is fine.
Yeah, there's also that.
Yes, but he dies.
He does.
Yes.
But no, yeah. It is very funny that you did particularly point out the rank of ensign. Bright is an ensign during the 1-year war.
Yeah, but even after that,
He does get the upgrade once they actually like give him command of the white base, but at the side 7 incident, Bright is an ensign.
okay, I do have to coda that for the entirety of like the. Not only just the 1-year war.
Oh no, well
but
past the
also
1-year war,
immediate
yes.
stuff
If
after
Bright is the
that.
only reliable person in any sort of command position in Federation.
So, he's the only person above the rank of ensign who is both not corrupt and useful. So we have plenty of lieutenants and whatnot, but they're all various shades of useless.
Dare you speak ill of the greatest man in the Federation, Lieutenant Woody.
I see we have yet to invite our normal ships and therefore have not trivialized this mission yet.
Correct. We actually have to destroy everything on the board, the units we have.
So, I believe it's during the second part of this mission, I think, 'cause I don't think there are gun tanks on the field as of yet. We do need to have Vincent destroy the last gun tank in order to get a bronze.
He's not even on the field yet.
Yeah, so that'll
All
be
right,
the second
I'll
part.
get on that later.
The other thing is, overall, across the entirety of Missing Link, we do need to have Fred destroy 10 or more units, specifically in his Pixie. So once he gets his Pixie, we do want to focus on having him destroy at least 10 units. But that is across the entirety of Missing Link, not in a specific mission.
Most evasive tank in the goddamn world.
Yeah.
See, what you don't realize is at the same time we're talking about the plucky, slave soldiers of slavery, we're also doing a story about the plucky tank commander who's defying gods to make it home to his wife.
Yeah, so it is worth noting, as you may see from the unit names here, they do have slave wraith specific variants of a bunch of different stuff. There's like Jim Ground type wraiths. There's the Jim Ground type wraith with weapon rack, etc. There is the slave wraith, which is again just a variant Jim.
Slave Wraith is a variant.
Ground type Gundam, yeah.
Yeah, it looks more like
Yes, it is
yeah,
a variant ground type.
That makes sense.
That being said, the ground type Gundam is mostly a variant Jim. It's a Jim that's been upgraded with parts from Project V, basically. They didn't have enough spare parts from Project V to make more full Gundams, so they basically took like the framing and like basics of a gym and added enough Project V parts to it to make it into a quote-unquote Gundam. But yeah, so the thing about all these slave rate variants is they are for the most part pretty much identical. Like, I don't know stats-wise in this game whether or not they are, but from an actual perspective of, like, in-universe, the actual specs on them, they are pretty much identical to whatever they are a variant of. They typically will have different armament, and they have the sort of the gray-black color scheme.
Like
of
So-
the Squadron.
The
So-
ground type gym has the rocket launcher that the regular one has.
Yeah.
Slave Wraith has stuff that's basically Slave Wraith.
Generally, they typically have more explosive weaponry than other variants.
Yeah. Like this one has the 6.2 missile launcher with it.
So the typical like Penal Legion stuff of here's the plucky, highly customized unit type thing.
It's not even highly customized. Literally, they have the different colorization is to designate them specifically as slave wraith.
Yeah.
And
Great, make you sad.
the armament is literally just like the mission we are sending you on.
Requires-
It's gonna be a rocket launcher. Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing. There was nothing stopping them from giving like a rocket launcher to a normal gym ground type, and I'm probably happened at times during the 1 year war. It's just
Yeah.
not part of the quote unquote standard armament. Whereas what is quote unquote standard armament for all the slave wraith units is solely based on what we see in Missing Link, because we literally don't see them anywhere else, basically.
Ah.
That part is basically like great, can get him wherever he wants.
Yeah. Also
Yeah.
that.
It's fine. Or you like it.
I take it these units heal at the beginning of their turns.
Yes.
Okay.
Guest units always have like health and enemy regen at the start of the turn. So
That makes sense. Sorry, you don't normally always have carriers or anything.
yeah. They can't even get on the carrier. Okay.
Ah, okay. So the carrier is
for
literally just
show.
a unit.
Yeah, pretty much. Again, not an uncommon thing among guest units. Typically, it's only if they have like a full-on warship that they'll have units associated with the actual carrier. What was the challenge for this part?
No, there's no challenge for it.
Oh,
the
it's just
the
a-
first challenge was destroy everything without having any of the Type 61s destroyed.
Ah, okay.
This one is just clear the field.
That's what I meant. I was in the midst of getting other stuff set up and going, so I missed what the actual little yellow box to start was.
It's
As-
actually
as soon as we did the thing without having the Type 61s destroyed, they turned on us.
Yes. Yeah, we basically go in and like, okay, well, there's some Zaku's attacking, so we destroy the Zaku. And then it's like, a bunch of other Type 61s show up, and it's like, oh, the slave race were in the line of fire. I don't know what happened. That's they're like, yeah, you still just stuck to like, I don't know, stealing supplies or whatever. We're gonna have to kill you now.
Yeah.
Now to wait for people to regen energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 1 person of energy to attack.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
Oh, you think you're going to trial?
Extrajudicial.
「俺たちの正体はスレイブレイスと呼ばれている。ある時は軍内部に救う犯罪者たちを始末し、またある時はまともな奴がブルって逃げ出す危険な任務を遂行する。そしてこんな危ない橋を渡るのはすでに傷持つ連中ばかりだ。上官殺しの立派、ちょっと荒削りだが格闘戦のセンスは抜群だ。味方殺しのハイヤー、あらゆる乗り物を乗りこなすエキスパート
Dave
だ。
downloaded a car.
爆弾魔のボマー、爆発物のエキスパートでその爆発は芸術的。ハッカーのダイバー、書類の偽造やハッキングのエキスパート、部隊の
It's
情
the
報
Gundam
収集
version of
や
40K's Last Chancers.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
They're,
そして
they're a
スパイの
pretty typical, like,
Penal Legion.
penal legion.
Everyone's
この
special.
部隊の隊長を務める。
Like,
本来
it's
は皆
definitely
臭い
just
飯
a
を食ってい
trope.
るが
Yeah.
死刑のはずだが、こうして戦場をかけている。それはある日、
As opposed to Marcosius, which, as I said, is an actual, like, Omega Company thing.
Yeah.
グレイブ
They're not technically a penal legion, but they are, like, all the Xeon soldiers that they're like, we don't fucking want this wild moron in our unit. Send him to Marcosius. Which does at least lead to Marcosius being highly entertaining. Also because at least half of Marcosius are gloriously funny psychopaths.
So what you're saying is expect the scenery to be chewed.
Yeah, mostly.
Well, at least these people are easy to please.
I mean, you're not wrong.
As a reminder, this is still just all the pre-fight stuff for Scenario 1.
Yep.
We haven't even deployed our units yet.
You know, we don't have to deploy our units for a scenario. That actually felt like a complete scenario. You could just cut it there.
Nope. Let's meet Marcosia Squad.
Yep. Here is Vincent Gleisner. Doug Schneid. In Doug Schneid's Efreet. Not to be confused with and legally distinct from Efreet Schneid.
So does Vincent destroys the last gun tank?
Yes, Vincent has to destroy the last gun tank.
Die, help. And I think in nearly every mission for this, you play as both sides.
Yeah, generally.
That makes
Which,
sense.
again, makes sense. Missing Link itself has you basically switch back and forth between the slave raids and Marcosius.
Ah. Does Marcosius also fight Zeon forces for some reason?
No.
Okay.
No. Oh.
Get fucked, Liberio.
So, what exactly is special about the Efreet versus any of their other mobile suits, really?
Which version?
Yeah. First off, which version?
Let's just go with the base one for starters.
Okay, so even that becomes a fairly complicated question.
Well, the one that's on the screen right now.
Well, that's Doug. That's not an Efreet Schneid. That's Doug Schneid's
Doug
Efreet.
Schneid's What has Doug Schneid done to this Efreet, apart from change the colors?
Which is different than the regular Freak, or the
I
Freak
think change the
Knocked,
colors,
or the
yeah.
Freak Nine,
Or the Exam Efreet
or the
custom.
Exam Freak Custom.
So the Efreet is, so first off, it's a prototype unit.
Yeah.
Okay. You viewers at home can't see it, but I just made a vigorous jerking off motion. It's essentially kind of a spot between the Goof and the Dom. It's a close combat fighter, much like the Goof is. However, it's more of a technical fighter than a like knockdown, drag out brawl unit like the Goof is. The Goof is designed to be very tough, very resilient, and basically just be able to sort of march in and take hits in order to get in close combat. The Ifrit is has very high thrust, very high output, making it very mobile. So it can really just close in kind of before the opponent can have a chance to react. And the Ifrit has sort of variable armament, whereas the Goof mostly had sort of built-in weaponry and had very fixed armament. The Ifrit, technically speaking, is the best close combat mobile suit that the Zeon forces deployed during the 1 Year War. It actually technically has higher close combat ability than even the Gelgoog, but the Gelgoog was just more mass-produced. Part of the reason for that, too, is because the one thing that the Ifrit severely lacks is that it's ground-based. It does not have space capability, and as you know, at a certain point, the 1 Year War was moving almost entirely to space, meaning the Ifrit was going to be useless, whereas the Gelgoog, which was space-capable, had more versatility rather than trying to adapt the Ifrit to a space-capable unit.
By making it raid like a space surfboard or something.
That being said, the one we are looking at here specifically is Doug Schneid's Ifrit, which, again, is, technically speaking, just an Ifrit, but he does have some specific customizations to it, mostly, if I recall correctly, in the armaments.
Which would make sense, considering they have variable armaments in the first place.
Yeah. And obviously a custom color scheme.
As an aside, if you're going to build a giant mobile armor and then just build weapons into it, it almost feels like you're defeating half the point of having hands.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. The Goof could still use handheld weaponry, but had a lot of built-in weaponry.
What built-in weapon does the Goof have besides the whip?
The Goof's armaments...
Doesn't it have the like 3-barrel thing that's built into the knuckle?
That's a thing that holds on to. Get rid of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little drippy hand
Same
thing.
thing with the shield, which is also just a shield chain gun that can drop and carry.
I always thought that was like a part of the hand.
Yeah, I don't think the Goof has much in the way of built-in weaponry.
A lot of it is not so much that the Goof itself has built in, it's that the various weaponry are built into the various things on it. So, like, the shield has not only the, like, Gatling.
Also has
The sword is also inside the shield. The heat sword is in there. And, like, yeah, like, the knuckle shield has the machine gun built into it. Like, it has basically, but it's not necessarily that it's built in, but more so that it's all sort of integrated weaponry that's all attached to various things that are carried by the Goof, rather than just being able to be like, oh, there's a heat axe. Like, we're sending you on this mission. Because, like, that's the thing, is even though it could carry different stuff, the point is that, like, the actual, like, stuff for, like, because, like, for instance, the knuckle shield,
Yeah.
while it could drop it, was an integrated part of the actual Goof design. Like, it actually, like, was set in on, like, its shoulder when it wasn't using it, stuff like that. Whereas the bare naked Ifrit has no actual weaponry as part of its base design, and it can just be equipped with whatever you want to equip it with.
So it has the Heat Lancer.
Yeah, you can kind of get an idea basically by looking between what he's got and what Vincent has. So he's got Heat Lancer, Gatling Cannon, and shotgun, and then 150, 140, 160. Whereas this is a Zaku 2, but is, you know, the customized Zaku 2. So it's a little bit different. Well, we can actually look later to see what the game does mechanically, but for the most part, Doug Schneid's Ifrit is mostly a straightforward Ifrit, as opposed to an Ifrit Schneid, which is a variant. It's not. The Ifrit Schneid. Well, so when I say it's not, I mean in the sense that when things are designated as Doug Schneid's Ifrit, it is the base Ifrit. The Ifrit Schneid is a modified Ifrit, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like the upgrades might have been done to that same unit to turn it into the Ifrit Schneid. That's never entirely clear. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There were not that many Ifrits. There were not that. So like, yeah, the Ifrit Schneid is probably a modified version of Doug Schneid's Ifrit, but its actual like stats and armament and stuff are different than what is specified as Doug Schneid's Ifrit. That is why the distinction is made. It is worth noting, Doug Schneid does not pilot the Ifrit Schneid.
Just to be that much more confusing.
Well, again, it's the whole thing of the Ifrit Schneid is probably made from Doug Schneid's Ifrit, because again, he had already done some customization to it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Doug Schneid is dead.
Considering you said unicorn. Yeah.
Also, it is not... The Ifrit Schneid is not actually piloted by... Well, okay. So, it shows up in two places. It shows up in Unicorn, and it shows up in Gundam Side Story Missing Link. So it does also show up in Missing Link. It is not entirely clear in Unicorn if it is being piloted by the same person that is piloting it in Missing Link. If it is, it's Fred Raber. Yes. Yes. That is the whole thing. It's like Fred Raber does eventually pilot the Ifrit Schneid.
Rare some overkill.
Oh, good lord.
Yes. My boy!
This seems unkind. Wait,
Gobi Desert.
That is-
I have returned.
It was not my intention.
Was that a war crime?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Given that this is taking place during the 1 year war, absolutely.
Yes, that was the atomic bazooka.
We have just
We have just fired a nuclear rifle into the Gobi Desert.
we just violated the Antarctic Treaty.
But yes, when it shows up in Unicorn, it is not 100% clear whether or not it is Fred Raber piloting it, but it probably is. So it's not just some random nobody. It is actually a named pilot. They just don't bring that up in Unicorn because it's just it's one of those ones that sort of shows up in one of those mecha porn scenes, basically.
Yeah, it appears in like 3 different shots.
Yeah, I mean it's cool as shit, but
It has a nice little fight striker.
yeah. But yeah, it is likely that it is being piloted by the Ripper, but yeah, one of the things to understand about the actual Unicorn anime is there are effectively 2 episodes during which they basically just opened up every side story and MSV book in existence and hucked darts at them, and they were like, okay, we need 150 different mobile suits for this battle scene. Let's grab whatever random shit we can think of.
Yeah, I guess the
because like half of those scenes are specifically like, oh, this is all shit that's just been like sitting around for 20 years and random people are now piloting. And half of them are like, oh, it's like every Xeon remnant in existence is basically all coming together for this big fight. So it's just like they pull random shit from all over the place. They pull MSV shit that we were pretty sure they forgot about. Yeah, like there's all sorts of nonsense in the big battle scenes in Unicorn.
Boomerang Man.
Yes, the Zogok, which they remembered that the radiator fins on its shoulders are also hurlable boomerangs.
Because why not?
I mean, it makes... Technically speaking, they are actually explicitly heat boomerangs, sort of, except they don't have the inherent like heat generation things like heat hawks or heat swords do. But they are specifically designed in the same way as those. But the heat they get is literally the radiated heat of the unit itself. It actually makes sense when you think about it, because it's like, oh, I mean, we already have these things that are very efficient at, you know, handling heat and like dispersing it. Why don't we just use those as a radiator that doubles as a weapon? Their primary purpose is actually as the radiator fins for the unit. They just also happen to be able to be pulled out and hurled.
There is a sense and logic to that, ignoring all the flaws of that idea. Partially because, okay, the external radiator idea isn't exactly the best of them in the first place. Also, now that you've hurled your ability to sink heat into your, or sink the heat that your unit has coming off of it, what do you do now?
Oh, there's fucking 8 of them.
Okay.
I think it's in there, actually.
Okay, yeah. Decent chunk of it.
I think it's in
yeah,
there.
I think it is literally on my right side now. Might be on.
If it's not there, it might be in the other case. I know I have one and I built it.
Yeah, because I do specifically remember that.
Yeah.
Zogok, weird amphibious mobile suit designed for one specific mission will never actually built by that point chart, so now we're going to fly land for a Bangkok road. Instead of all half a dozen here. Nice.
I don't say it offhand, so.
Check the
Yeah, for the audience at home, there is a lot of gunplay in this room.
Yes, there is a lot of gunplay in this room, both built and unbuilt. Although that unbuilt stack will start to slowly lessen relatively soon, as over on our member of Sound Goblin and also the most successful independent streamer among us, HP Braincase, we will be starting to do a series over there called Gunpla Backlog, where we start working through the colossal pile of gunpla we have.
Have we determined when he's going to do that?
We don't have an exact time yet. I talked to him about it a bit yesterday when I was over there.
Okay.
Soon-ish, but again, there's just some practical application stuff to work through first. We want to get decent sound baffling in the room.
Yeah.
We're going to want to do some sound tests with the lav mics, because we're probably going to use those for it. We will still probably bring the Rodecaster Pro over, because the lav mics he has actually broadcast to a thing that has individual XLRs for each of the lavs. So we'll do that. We'll still run it through here. But we'll want to do a bunch of sound testing, equipment testing, stuff like that. Get it all set up, and then he also wants to, like I said, build sound baffling to be able to put up in that room. Because turns out a room with a slanted ceiling made of wood slats and wooden beams has fucking horrible acoustics.
Yeah, go figure.
We also talked about it because he's in process of, because he's got in the back of the streaming room there, he's got kind of a desk that right now just a bunch of stuff sort of piled on and stowed. He's going to be replacing that with like a
cutscene.
Yep.
fancy. But yeah, he's going to be replacing that with like probably a built-in like storage unit bench kind of couch thing. So we'll start doing more couch co-op stuff over there again. Whether couch potatoes or blind spot or probably more just point and click, things like that. This point and click, we've got to start tackling Monkey Island now that there's going to be a sixth
Monkey
game.
Island game. Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, bot. I don't want to become famous. I'm already infamous.
Hey-oh. Look at this fearsome ace unit that showed up.
This seems unnecessary.
Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. You have fucked up now.
Okay, they're done.
Bunch of fucking... It's barely even worth capturing these things. They're gonna sell for like 5K. They're almost worth more as experience, frankly.
Are they though?
Maybe.
Have we got Vincent's last kill? Anything else we need to do on this particular mission?
No, that was it.
Right, so chew through everything here.
The next one, because we obviously have we'll get pilots when we completed each of the individual scenarios just by a default.
Yeah.
That one will get us a bronze. The next one that has anything particular is number 3. Which is just destroy 20 enemy units within 4 turns.
Okay.
I'm sure that'll be a great challenge. The only thing I can think of that would make that actually challenging is if it's in like a pre-fight thing where we don't get to deploy our units.
Good man.
But typically they don't have those during those periods. Yeah, we essentially have special requirements during 1, 3, and 5. And then we have the overall one once we actually get Fred Raver and a Pixie of making sure he defeats 10 units in that Pixie. I mean, that being said, that's just to unlock Fred Raver as a pilot if we can.
As well.
Yeah, we may as well, but if we miss it, we're not going to be broken up about it, basically.
Even if it wasn't by default underleveled in comparison to everyone in our crew, would he actually be a good pilot?
Gonna be a melee focus.
He's a really
one,
good melee
so-
pilot, but we've already got a stupidly good melee pilot from one of the new generations. The only other benefit of having Fred Raver is if you put Fred Raver in a Pixie, it becomes Fred Raver's Pixie.
Yes.
Oh, we need some support.
This seems unnecessary for a gym.
Completely and utterly.
I don't know what you're talking about. He stepped. No better than step. But that killed him.
そのまま引くがいい終わったぞくだらぬざれ言に付き合うつもりはない
And then that killed her.
Yep. I mean, it only had 2,000 health left. Vulcans
And then
would
that
kill,
killed it?
Vulcans would kill this thing.
And then, the coup de grace.
There's some shredded pieces of metal that still exist in the area.
Such devastation! This was not my intention!
Amazingly, the strongest thing that hit it there was Attorney Frey hitting it with the missiles.
Yeah. Just so we are clear, that button is going to get pushed anytime you play the Atomic Bazooka animation. Like, that's just a thing that's going to happen.
Okay, I can only fire it like twice without having to go get energy. So.
Gee, I fucking wonder why.
Okay, so now that we've
And I'm pretty
blasted
sure
the
that's only
desert.
because we have energy regen on it.
Yeah, it is worth noting that in most other G-Gen games, there's not only energy, there are also some weapons that do have
Ammo.
limited ammo, and the Atomic Bazooka is one of them, and you get one shot of that between actual like full refills.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Related to Super Robot stuff, do you see that next week we're getting a
Yeah.
SRW30 announcement of some sort?
Yeah, SRW30 channel something.
It's announcing.
I'm guessing probably more DLC, maybe even like an actual like DLC like expansion.
Yeah.
Because they're doing a lot of things with 30 that they haven't done before, so I would not be surprised if they announce like a full like expansion campaign rather than just the other stuff that's usually just like a few scenarios.
I just saw that as one of the updates. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what's happening. It's almost certainly at the very least going to be the announcement of like a new DLC pack that's going to be like 2 or 3 series, like they've done with the other DLC packs. But given that they're making this big a deal about like, hey, there's an announcement coming on the 13th, I want to say it is
Like
13th in
13th
Japan.
or 14th. So it's like 14th for us. I want to say 13th for them. Or 13th for us, 14th for them.
Something like that, yeah. But like, yeah, given how big a deal they're making out of it, I would not be surprised for it to be like, hey, we're like adding an expansion campaign. Yes, I very much like 30. I am very excited for us to eventually get to that on Super Robot Sundays.
Yep. My favorite things about 30 is how they treat your ship.
Yes.
Because like most games like this one, obviously we have our warships. And other
SRW games, the battleships are
you
ass.
typically have a battleship who the whole point of the battleship is typically the pilot of the battleship has excels. You can move it in the middle of the battlefield before you launch all your units out of it and never put them back on the battleship. In SRW 30, the battleship has like all your special advancements are tied to the battleship, and you get stat increases for the battleship. And it's basically like another unit,
Yeah.
like anything else, as opposed to just
And is actually a worthwhile unit at that.
like it can actually hold its own and do shit, as opposed to being a glorified transport.
Yeah. Like, the battleships always have attacks in Super Robot Wars games. They're just usually fucking garbage. It's always one of the most, like, soul-crushing things in existence for an SR point to be like, kill X unit with the battleship. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Whereas, like, with the way the battleship works in
Oh, hey, SFS boosters.
with the way the battleship works in 30, it's like, oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
Especially like I threw most of my like skill point upgrade things to like add skills and all that kind of stuff
Onto the battleship.
onto the battleship pilot or
Yeah,
commander.
if you actually do it right, the battleship actually becomes one of your best units, and it's not a bad idea to do that because it's going to be in every fight in the
it's
game.
every fight, and it's like, okay, well now she has extra range, extra movement, extra support attacks, support defend. I think we may have gotten someone who can level
Yeah, 'cause I think, yeah, go ahead. Oh boy, 11K.
Rolling it.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, I think, El Cajon was, like, real close to, well, like, a few hundred off. Ah, Sleeves Yogdanoga.
This is an entirely new line of stuff.
Yes, well, we never really dove into any of the Kira or Yog stuff. I may as well swap it over to that Dragon. Which is a dead end.
Yep.
What were we looking for on the Blue Destiny? Yeah, 4. Okay, so one more level in there.
Yep.
Technically, I mean, the one that's at 3 there is one we haven't done yet, but it's just old districts.
Might as well, because it's going to go into that anyways.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll just send it to the cold districts type. Don't have any levels on it.
Also before. It's 3.
Short by 11 points.
And she'll definitely get an exhibition if it gets at least 50. So.
Yeah.
Gives her 31. Okay.
On to the next mission.
Yes, remember
Jabro
Jabro.
again. This one was where Fred gets his pixie.
This is also a mission that technically has the option to do underwater and water and undersea.
Yes.
I don't think we actually end up in water and undersea. But
There's like one spot on the top map that has like water on it.
We have water capable units.
yes.
Okay.
Most ground units are also water capable. They're just not good at it.
No. We do not have any specialized aquatic units.
近々大規模な反攻作戦が行われるのは間違いないだろう。先ほどドーバー海峡を挟んだイングランド南部に連邦の大部隊が集結中との情報を得た。地球連邦総司令官レビル将軍の機関がイングランドからヨーロッパ大陸へとドーバー海峡を渡ろうとしている。おそらく連邦が狙うのはキシリア閣下の信任も厚いマクベ大佐が管轄するオデッサだ。我々はドーバー海峡防衛部隊の支援に向かい迎撃用施設の直営につく。どうやら連邦は主力を既存戦力で固め外州の予備隊にモビルスーツを配備しているようだ。今後の核となる新戦力を温存し多少の犠牲を払ってでも物量戦で押し切る。さすがはレビル。対局を見極める才覚に長けた噂通り優秀な将軍だ。先の戦闘ではセベロを含めた若者たちが命を落とした。
I mean, to be fair, Sylvester charged directly into 3 gems and
わ
just
ず
got
か
stabbed.
半年で
Yeah.
すでに半分以上の総合だ。
Is a thing that
戦
happened.
区への出撃が続けば無理もない。
You even told him, hey, don't do that, dumbass.
何としても生き延びさせてやりたい。
Doesn't one of the Efreet have like a giant axe?
I want to say that's the Noct.
「後味の悪い任務だった。連邦軍が腐りきっているのは元からだし、人が死ぬのも慣れてる。ボマーに味方を撃つのは初めてかと聞かれた。その時は答えなかったけど、味方を撃つのはあれが初めてじゃない。僕が
No,
レ
the
イスに送ら
Noct
れ
is
た
the
の
one
は
with the
味方を誤爆したからだ。もちろんわざとじゃない。命令
stealth
書通り
one.
に爆撃しただけ。
Yeah.
基地に戻った僕
No,
は
no,
構
the
想
Chaotic
した。
Hunter dies as a
that's
Schneid.
yeah.
僕が爆
Again,
撃した
because
のは
that's
友軍
Fred
だった。
Ravers.
ジョーカーはそんな命令は出していないと主張した。
Or base.
頭がおかしくなりそうだった。
No.
命令そのものがもみ消されていたんだ。
None of them are listed as having an axe in armaments.
僕は何かの陰謀の道具に使われ。
Maybe misremembering like Dumbsy on mobile suits.
I mean, there's the Heat Lancer, which is a
自分の
pole
力
arm.
ではどうにもならない意志が働いている。僕はグレイブと取引をして裏側の世界にやってきた。そこでも誰かに利用され続けるのは変わらない。 ジャブローは赤く染まる。
Jaburo, stained red. Again, again, again. Again.
There is also a new Ifrit variant from Gundam Battle Operation Code Fairy,
Okay.
which has the Ifrit Jaeger. But that one is so new, there's not even actually a page for it on the Gundam Wiki yet. But that one also, as far as I can tell, does not have a big-ass axe. It actually has a big-ass fucking rifle.
Fair enough.
They equipped the Ifrit with a sniper rifle, because, you know, that's a great thing to put on a variant of a close combat specialized unit.
Defeat the entire purpose?
I mean, in its defense, it also has a sawed-off shotgun.
Fair. Like, I expect the sawed-off shotgun though. That makes sense.
Yeah, it has a sniper rifle that also has an anti-air mode, heat knife, a sawed-off shotgun, chaff grenades, and a camera gun.
I mean, I suppose you can build things into a mobile suit that would make it better at sniping, but by default, it shouldn't be bad at it. If it has a...
Oh no, it's not a case of it has to be bad.
It's not that it's going to be
more like,
bad at it, it's just that it is a suit specifically designed and specialized for close combat and
like
melee.
a high-speed
Yeah.
close combat unit. Just give it a rifle and send it way in the back.
A sniper rifle, no less.
As a default armament, it is definitely dumb, but I could see using it for a mission.
I mean, that being said, part of the thing with the Ifrit being, you know, the whole thing of, like, it doesn't have any, like, really, quote-unquote, standard armament.
Yeah.
You could absolutely give it one of the giant-ass heat axes.
Yeah. Also, in fairness, a high mobility suit with a sniper rifle does make some amount of sense.
Yeah.
Maybe with that repositioned well enough, but
Yeah. And let it reposition well enough. If it needs to get the hell out of there, it's better at it. They can actually outrun pursuers, hypothetically.
yeah.
I mean, there is the Zaku 2 axe type. It's just...
I like it. I need to gunpla that.
It is just a Zaku 2 with an axe whose head is the size of its entire fucking torso.
I'm a fan.
I believe that armament specifically is just referred to as the large heat hawk.
That is complete nonsense, but sure. Although I will say that works better on it works better on a mobile suit than it does in real life for a normal human being. So there's that at least.
So I don't believe there is any official gunpla of that. However, you can absolutely buy like garage kits of the big axe.
Nice.
And just put it on like a Zaku 2, and that's basically all it is. It's literally just a regular
Yeah.
Zaku 2, but with a huge fucking axe.
Okay, but at what point are we grabbing nonsense Dark Souls weaponry and throwing them on the mobile suits?
Okay, no, I take it back. There's actually, so it's not a standard Gunpla, it's a Tamashii Nations.
Uh-huh.
But there is absolutely a Tamashii Nations Zaku 2 high mobility with giant Heat Hawk.
Oh, that's quite the price tag.
Yeah, it is actually one of the fixed figuration metal composites. But it does absolutely have that son of a
It
bitch.
explains why it's like $130.
Yeah. I mean, it was always going to be like a specialty thing. Even if it was a regular Gunpla, it was going to be like a P Bandai. Like, let's be real.
Yeah. It makes it like a P-Bandai HG, in which case you're not paying like an arm and a leg for it, but...
Yeah, but I mean, because like that thing, the actual like Zaku 2 axe type, it's from like one of the ACE games or some shit. Like, it's one of those weird, like, this is a variant of a variant of a variant.
You want to get one of the Zaku 2 with the giant-ass axe, and then give it the Gym Guard shield.
Big axe and a fucking refrigerator door. I love the Gym Guard custom, but Christ almighty, that shield.
All right, who's ready for Operation Punch Right Through?
So you're trying to get that hover truck to the green zone or something?
We need to get higher to the green zone in 5 turns.
Yeah.
Oh. Actually...
Technically we need to get...
There you go. HG The Origin, Zaku 2 Ortega Custom.
Okay.
Okay.
So there was actually a Bandai Hobby Gunpla of it. Yeah, because that's specifically in The Origin, Ortega of the Black Tri-Stars pilots that thing.
Here is the Pixie. Doing a regular attack and not the dumb spin. It has the dumb spin.
It does have the dumb spin. Oh, there's one.
How far does your disperse go?
Two. Oh, that actually has a range to it.
Well, he is a melee-focused character. He has the +1 range on melee attacks.
Ah. Right, so 3
Yeah,
kills.
it's actually, that is a ability basis, not an actual weapon thing.
Yeah.
The weapon itself is range 1.
Yeah. Freedom has it as well.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know who got that kill.
That kill goes to...
It's whoever was targeted.
Whoever the primary person is gets the kill for counterattacks.
Yep. feel like in this instance it will go to Fred.
Show off the machine guns.
抵抗すれば容赦はしない。
Got these little like bullpup. It technically has 2 of those.
仕置きが必要だな。
You should know that while the Slave Wraith is technically based on the ground type, it has like the full-on booster as opposed to the backpack.
The little like jump booster that the ground type has.
So slightly upgraded ground type.
Basically. Again, mostly just an instance of Grave was like, well, that a base ground type isn't really going to give them everything I need them to be able to do. Let me pull some strings. Yes, that is specifically a thing that specifically Fred Reaver's Pixie gets is the special attack.
Don't spin.
The idiotic spin.
さあ
I'll try spinning. That's a cool
見せて
trick.
くれ。力士切り刻んでやるよ。
Oh, it doesn't do the dumb spin. Maybe only the regular one does the dumb spin.
Yeah, it makes sense, because Reaver the Ripper's thing is just basically going nuts with the knives, rather than Bork Cry, who, much like Uso Ebbing from much later on, realized, oh, this is just a big robot. It doesn't actually have to follow, like, human physical constraints. I could just do full 360 spins at the waist over and over again.
The dumb spin is basically holding out the beam daggers in both hands.
Yeah.
And then
Just
doing
spinning
a
the whole-
spin.
Just rotating
like
the
the fucking
torso.
top.
Rotating the torso.
Ah.
Doesn't actually rotate the full suit. It's just the torso.
It's dumb.
It works.
It does work.
Yeah, that's like 8 or 9.
It's some amount. Like,
Getting 10 is not going to be hard.
No, especially when they're
we're stuck using them all solo for the pre-scenario fights typically.
yeah.
energy.
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably run into in a lot of the base stories before you get invested to. A lot of these storyline units are not designed for prolonged combat beyond a few turns, even with the regen that they get.
Give him the knives.
Ah, soccer cannons.
Yep. Leave me alone.
Not worth the energy to counter.
No.
こいつ今までの敵と動きが違う
Making
お
sure I
前
can do
も
more
少し
melee
は
stuff
楽し
next
ませ
time.
てくれよ
Yeah.
And I don't want to get hit because then I won't have my high morale anymore.
That makes sense.
There we go.
Yep.
See that guy just run past all of us in mobile suits, set up some bombs, and then...
That's not the weirdest thing I've seen this week. Well, that was that one battle we fought earlier with the two carriers from Out of Time carrying a bunch of highly advanced nonsense suits.
That may happen soon. What?
The out-of-timeness of carry base is questionable.
Anyway, but the out of time is of everything inside carry base.
Yeah, that's a different story. But, like,
I mean, White Base is actually in time, but
well, not there though.
not not there, or the three other places in the Jaburo that's appeared so far as well, probably.
Is this the actual invasion of Jaburo?
This right now is not.
The previous mission was Jaburo.
Well, no, this is
no,
Jaburo.
No, we're coming up on Jaburo. This is
Okay.
pre-Jaburo.
Ah, okay.
This is the Dover Strait.
俺は一度死んでいる。肉体の話じゃない。精神的な話だ。本来なら軍事法廷送りの大きなミスをやらかし、仲間を
Okay, yeah, no, the carry base is out of time because it's the Clock class, which was actually CCA era.
上官が事実をもみ消したからだ。
Because
罪
the
の意
Clock
識に
class
耐えきれ
is
壊れた俺は
specifically a scaled down rock column.
誰も知らない。隊長であるフィクサー。
Also
自
need
由
to
な
get it.
人事異動や情報操作ができるからには
Bop,
連
bop.
邦軍の高官に違いないが余計な詮索をしても早死にするだけだろ俺は割と今の自分が気に入っているなんたって爆
I
薬が
actually
使い
expect to
放
have
題
less meaning behind mobile suit names, if any.
I mean, the non-Pegasus derived like line of warships also do have their own naming scheme for the class because there's like the Magellan, the Salamis, etc. They're actually named after like famous sailors and explorers.
Yeah, which is probably the most on-theme thing they do, actually.
And all the Xeon stuff are made-up nonsense words.
Yes. We shove syllables together just because. Occasionally there's a few syllables that resemble things here or there. Mostly people's names.
I'm talking about like their warships.
Ah.
You got like Musai, Marasai.
The big Zom.
That's above water.
That's
Yeah.
one. They also like just taking Thing and then adding attitude like Zom. The big Zom.
Bigger than a normal Zom.
Yep. Bigger than the non-existent normal Zom. Really makes you question why they decided to call it the big Zom. Or like the big Ro.
There is technically a whole line for that. It's
It'd be even more amusing if they, after the big row, they made the literal row, and then eventually the row.
自由がなくなる軍への協力かの二者択一を迫られ協力を選んだ人生ってのは配られたカードで勝負するしかないもっとも今私の手元にあるカードはなかなかのもんよ
Doing an awful lot of thinking there, Lee. More complications in the plot.
Yep.
Turns out Vincent Gleisner is
Travis Kirkland's son.
Yep. Which, despite them revealing this extremely early on in the Missing Link scenarios, they still obscure it in the quest listing.
Still obscure it in the quest listing.
So the quest for actually unlocking Travis as a recruitable pilot, the quest text for it is unlock Travis's son.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and there's the whole thing, like, again, the story of Missing Link is actually really interesting.
Yes, it seems like they're trying to do something else besides 1 Year War, but from these soldiers' perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah, more uses the 1 Year War as like a backdrop for what's going on
Yeah.
than like most what mostly 1 Year War stories do, which is like, hey, everyone's at this battle, right? 17 different special ops teams. We're all taking a job role, right?
Well, you see, we didn't actually have any normal ops teams. Everything was exclusively fought between special ops teams.
47 different prototype units for a job role.
Now, because it was brought up, and I had to, like, I was reference checking to make sure I was remembering this correctly. Do you want to know why it's called the Big Zom?
Why?
Okay, so the Zom part of its name is actually in reference to another mobile armor. Because the first designed mobile armor, before it was even a designation for mobile armor, was the Adzom. So the Big Zom is actually in reference to the Adzom.
Fair enough.
Because, like, the Big Zom, even though it's easily the most prominent mobile armor in the 1 Year War, is actually like MA08.
Yeah.
Like, they had a bunch of mobile armors before the Big Zom, and specifically the Adzom is considered the first quote-unquote mobile armor, even though it technically was before the mobile armor designation even existed.
Well, and part of the original plan for like the Big Zom was to actually mass produce them.
Yes. But yeah.
Solomon got attacked before.
But yes, that is where the Big Zom things comes from, is it's the Adzom, but it's a bigger variant on the Adzom. And from that point on, any mobile armor that has big as part of its name, so like Big Row, etc., is all referencing the Big Zom.
Right.
That makes sense. Honestly, attacking big onto any mobile armor makes sense in its own way.
Yeah. But, like, there is actually this very bizarre through line of names for most of the mobile armors. Like, there's a few that just, like, yeah, whatever, but
Yeah.
most of them do actually make sense. Because, like, that being said, actually, the Big Row might actually predate the Big Zom.
Mad Angler Squadron.
Yeah, okay. No, that actually, yeah, the big part actually derives from the Big Row, because the Big Row predates the Big Zom as well. So it was essentially a combination of the concepts of the Adzom and the Big Row developed the Big Zom. Yeah, because the Big Row was actually conceptualized before the 1 Year War even started.
Okay.
And then, of course, from there, you get all the different big variants, the big Ruff, the big Rain, et cetera. Other mobile armors that predate the big Zom, the Zacrello.
Oh, the Zacrello.
The idiot machine.
Got claws.
Hey, those claws are useful for...
No, they're not.
For nothing. They're useful for nothing.
We don't try to justify the Zacrello.
Look,
Who built this and how quickly were they fired?
Zeon did.
Specifically, I believe the Zacrello is manufactured by Zeonic. Or no, they're an MIP. They're MIP. They're the same ones that made the DOP, the Zagok, and the Big Row, and variants thereof.
Yeah.
See, and then you get even dumber, stupider stuff off the Zacrello, like when they decided to combine the Zacrello and the Bra-Row for the Brarello.
Yeah, it still has the stupid claws.
俺の胸には大きな穴が開いている。決して満たされることのない穴だ。モビルスーツに乗って戦っている間だけはこの穴のことを忘れられる。
Yeah, again, that is one of the interesting things as far as the Universal Century Gundam universe goes. There are actual distinct manufacturing companies for pretty much every mobile suit. It is not just a thing of like, oh, they're just developed by the Federation military or the Zeon military. There are actual... the Federation is mostly Anaheim Electronics, but for the Zeon side, there are actually like 3 or 4 different companies that all manufacture.
At a certain point, everyone is Anaheim. Practically,
No,
it feels like.
So, sort of yes, sort of no. After the 1 Year War, most of the Zeon mobile suit and mobile armor manufacturing companies did get folded into Anaheim Electronics, but they sort of operate still as kind of independent divisions, sort of. It's like Anaheim kind of became like the parent company and umbrella company, and then they're still like Zeonic and Zamad still operate independently at that point. They just are owned by Anaheim, essentially.
It's just at a certain point when later series where it's like every important like individual mobile suit is made by Anaheim Electronics, no matter what side you're on.
So what you're saying is the real villain is the military-industrial complex.
Partially.
Oh, Anaheim absolutely plays both sides. They're not even subtle about it. What are you going to do? Get your mobile suits from someone else?
Yeah, it's not an uncommon thing, particularly in various UC series, for there to also be like companies involved in the stories and like stuff going on.
Yeah.
So
The ghosts. Or the banshees. On a whole bunch of like ghost and supernatural companies all meeting up together in the middle of the night patrol.
we don't talk about the spook units.
For a good reason.
The the general who formed that one had to go to sensitivity training.
It's us, the bog unicorns.
To say nothing of the one that forms badgers.
The Badgers. Don't talk about them either. They're basically terrorists.
Now in partnership with ISIS.
What? When did that happen?
Yeah, because there's Anaheim Electronics, there's Xeonic, there's Samad, there's MIP, there's the MOOC Consortium, there's the VIST Foundation.
And there they go.
There's the, let's see, the Colony Public Corporation.
God, you're bad at patrolling.
There is SNRI, the Strategic Naval Research Institute, which is like the actual Federation military, like mobile suit design division, which like very rarely does much of anything.
So like actual government,
That's it.
Well,
like our current system?
so the whole thing about the SNRI is what the SNRI is most notable for is ripping off the F-91 because they're the ones that designed the F-90. And then like because that was so the F-91 was also made by SNRI, but the whole thing about it is like there's this whole thing where they probably stole the design plans from Anaheim to make the F-90, which then eventually developed into like the F-91.
Well, that's not hard.
no.
It's going to take more time for me to move them around the map long enough to get it done than actually.
They're not actually doing it.
Perfect Company. There is the like 14 different companies owned by Yashima.
Oh, it counts the ones he destroyed in the previous map.
Oh, so he has to destroy like.
He has to destroy 8.
Yeah.
The thing about the Magellans, you don't actually get the kill when you do the initial hit. You don't get the kill until you actually destroy the Magellan top.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, it is not considered a destroyed unit in much the same way that if you're fighting like something that has like a full armor and you destroy it, it doesn't actually fully destroy, it goes to the non-full armor version, and that doesn't count as destroying the unit.
This won't be hard.
No. And then there is the company that exists in Universal Century that, Christ Almighty, needs better background checks. The Jaburo Construction Office.
Needs better background checks.
Char built Jaburo.
Right. In fairness, no one is good at background checks when it comes to Char specifically. It's like a superpower or
like
something.
Within Mobile Suit The Origin, that's the whole like reason why they knew about the back door into Jaburo base is because Char was part of the crew that actually built the Jaburo base.
There's a lot of laborers.
Knows how to use mobile workers.
A little bit too well. We're not gonna question it.
Killed the man with a shovel. Back into the chakra.
That did absolutely happen.
It did absolutely happen. Like, that's oddly specific. Uh-huh. I screwed up.
Oh.
You can't get the special event now.
Not enough units left on the field.
It's kill 12 units or Reaper kills 12 units.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. There's not enough units left on the field for...
There's not enough for me to get the 8 kills he needs before we hit the 12 limit. All right, go crazy.
Oh well, we miss out on maybe 20k, 20, whatever.
Regards, that saves a lot of time.
Not that much.
Other than like 4 of them, he would have.
Again, most kills come on counters.
That's true. On the other hand, he also has a limited amount of energy, and that was an issue previously.
Yeah.
Such devastation! This was not my intention!
The classics.
They'll genuinely never get old.
As an aside, if we keep doing this, there's going to be nowhere on this planet inhabitable.
Yeah.
That seems pretty small scale to me.
Yeah.
It is, actually, but...
Yeah, that's one of the things about the Atomic Bazooka on the GPO-2. The actual nuclear payload on it is not all that massive. Like, yes, it is still an atomic bomb. It's not that big an atomic bomb.
It also has the map version,
Yes.
which costs 150 of
It
its
does
190
15,000
energy,
damage
and just does
everything in the
flat
map.
15,000.
Yeah.
Its area is
That.
Yeah. That circle.
It's one of those, you're going to be hard-pressed to catch all that many units in that because it is a very specific circle at a very precise range. But any unit you do catch is fucked.
much.
I see at some point here we started fielding the DS Stutzer.
Yeah, we needed stuff that like worked in space, I want to say, and could level up into things.
More advanced Zeta nonsense. So an important thing to note about the Rick Diaz Stutzer is it is explicitly called out as like, while it has a great deal of performance improvements over the general Rick Diaz, it's also bulky and cumbersome as shit, so almost nobody can pilot it effectively. Like, at some point we'll have to do an actual, like, cut-in attack with this thing so you can see what this fucking idiot machine looks like. It just has, like, all sorts of extraneous nonsense shit.
Go Team Mom.
加減はしない。
これ以上の戦いは悲しみを増やしてしまうだけなのですよ。
There we go. Another neat level of Destiny. Cool.
Yeah, there are a couple Stutzer units because the Rick Diaz Stutzer technically has the upgrades to the Rick Diaz based off of the Dom Stutzer. Stutzer, by the way, is just German for fancy.
Yep.
Got a fancy dome.
Gabriel Zola is the original Meister Kawaguchi. Just names all his shit. Amazing. Like, this is my Rick Diaz, but it's fancy.
And now Anna Rose is in two places at once.
The Dom Stutzer, for reference, looks like if you took the Dom Tropin body, put it on the Rick Dom 2 legs, and then realized, oh wait, I don't need to actually have like a line of sight out of this thing, so I'm just gonna put like a collar and missile units on it that basically go halfway up the fucking head.
Sure, why not?
It's stupid. But then again, advance of Zeta.
In total fairness, you could put cameras pretty much anywhere on these things and in several places.
Yes, but they don't. They explicitly put them in the heads.
Yeah, I know.
Most suits have secondary camera systems.
They do, but the primary camera is always in the head.
Yeah.
I did see somebody, by the way, making a comment in regards to the Gundam Evolution game, the Gundam Overwatch game, that I didn't even think about, but honestly, kind of, yeah.
Oh.
So in that game, as you may expect from like a first-person shooter style game, you get crit hits for shooting units in the head.
Yeah.
You should get it for shooting them in the cockpit.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like, it's a mobile suit. The head doesn't really fucking do anything.
It's got sensors and shit in it, but...
Yeah, like, it's not going to cause critical damage. Quite frequently in Gundam, heads get blown off units, and they continue to fight, and oftentimes even win said fight.
The heads are borderline vestigial parts.
I mean, they're where the primary camera and a number of other sensors are, as well as typically where the primary like antenna for communication is. But that's really it. Like, blowing the head off of a unit does not by any means disable it.
It's like destroying the radar dish on a house and saying you destroyed the house, basically.
Type flash. So.
I mean, quite literally, one of the most iconic shots in the entirety of Gundam literally involves the 78 without its fucking head.
Missing an arm and no head.
Yeah, the last shooting pose is
shooting
like,
at a head that actually matters since it's where the pilot is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the Zeong, one of the only mobile suit designs in history where the head actually matters. But yeah, like, the last shooting pose is explicitly it is missing an arm and its head and firing the beam rifle straight up.
Wasn't the cockpit of the Rick Diaz in the head?
Maybe. It's not a very common thing.
We have like the side thing opens up, and that's where you went inside out, in and out, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, possibly.
But it is not a very common. Most
it's almost always the torso.
Torso cockpits.
Yeah. The Gundam head ball is another one where the cockpit is in the head.
That's unfair. Think that is just a head.
I still love the concept behind the Gundam head ball.
This is just like, we'll deploy these and scare Xeon, but they can gun
It was a
places.
psychological torture. It wasn't that so they would think the Gundam is in a bunch of places. It was a psychological warfare thing designed to be like, oh god, they have a humongous Gundam. Because it would be a Gundam where the size of the head was the size of a ball.
Yeah.
Also, there was like only one of them.
Well, yeah, it was a dumb idea.
Still very funny, though.
No, I'm not disputing that.
Like, they explicitly deployed it in such a way so that it would, like, hover over things menacingly, but always be, like, cut off right below it, so they couldn't see that that it was just the head floating around.
Watch out, he's going downstairs.
Oh, no, now he's on an elevator.
Oh, he's coming back up. Enemies now? Yeah, okay.
No, the Gundam head ball was very explicitly one of those ones where you're like, I can't tell if they wrote this as a serious idea. Or if somebody on the Gundam staff was just shitposting. I think we still need levels on the Hazel that's in there too.
We do. I just want to make sure we actually get like a kill with Katsuha so we can actually upgrade her.
Yeah, actually get her to the point she needs.
So she should get like a kill. Be fine.
I'm a named pilot, so I'm just taking off.
Yep.
Yeah, probably pop the Hazel out there and have him finish off Doug. That'll be probably the most XP out of anyone here, either Doug or Vincent.
We need 4?
Yeah. Finish off that one and back in, getting a level. Oh, there we go. We're good. Now we can see what other stupid Advance of Zeta suit this thing turns into.
Bye, guy.
We have to do something.
Have to die.
Nope, I'm out.
Curses, you're on the way.
Yeah, no, all the named Marcosius are gonna run from here. I think the next actual Marcosius death we get isn't until like Abaku.
How does that attack work?
What, burning fire?
Yeah.
It flies along the path you set, and anything it passes through takes damage.
Okay.
I don't think that's how the Power Unleashed ones work.
I mean, try it.
That's the thing, it wouldn't let me actually fire it off.
No, that's what I'm saying. Back out. Okay, so now go to attack. Do burning fire, and now point at the spot you want to end in.
Ah, okay, yeah.
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 It is a very specific map attack because it actually involves moving. Yeah, that one works differently than any other map attack. And that you have to specifically put out a specific pathway rather than just do this area.
Bye, Vincent.
I'm still here.
Bye, Doug. Hey, bye, because they're leaving.
And then there's that one generic Marcosius Zaku 2 pilot in the back that's like, Never mind, that's Ambrose back there.
That's
Yeah.
Ambrose.
It's just, guys? Guys?
It's fine. I'm sure Herzaku 2 is a match for the new Gundam heavy weapon system.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna leave too.
It's still absolutely hilarious to me that we have Shiro piloting that. We have this highly specialized new type designed Gundam. Oh, we put Shiro Amada in. Wait, what?
Hey, he's doing a fine job.
I think he tries to launch the funnels and they're just gonna fall.
How the hell do these things even work? In fairness, from what I remember, in Atmosphere, they don't even work anyways.
They technically do. They have little, like, boosters on them. They're not as effective, but they are still usable in Atmosphere.
Big old whoop.
Yep.
They essentially have to expend more energy to stay, like, actual flying, but they don't. So they're not as, like, powerful, but...
Oh, the great team up of Amuro and Hamankar.
Unicorns.
Unicorn team.
Team Bug Unicorn.
We're not quite fully there yet, though, because we're still... No, we did get the Phoenix.
We have the Phoenix. It's on the other team.
Yes, we haven't fully reorganized into our stupidly funny unicorn team yet, where I think we figured out we were going to put Char as the Phoenix.
We're going to put her on the Nightingale.
Alright, so we're putting Char in the Nightingale. Right. I think we were going to potentially eventually recruit Vanager, put him in the unicorn, and then move Amuro over to the Phoenix.
Alright, that thing. Hell Rider.
Yep. Yes. Which, this mission does not matter who fights it. In 5, we want to make sure a specific thing happens. Which, I mean, again, we'll sort of get there eventually, but the whole thing with 5 is we essentially need to make sure that effectively all of Marcosia's company that's still alive fights the Pale Rider, and then Vincent destroys it. We need to have Liberio, Guy, and Honoros each have to engage the Pale Rider, and then Vincent destroys it, and that's how we actually unlock Vincent as a recruitable pilot, which then also unlocks Travis.
Yeah. Still gonna leave him to clear up all of this, and that should be 10 kills for him.
Yeah.
He's 4 already.
Yeah.
That'll be 9 then, because there's 5 units down there. Or no, there's 6. Never mind. For some reason I was reading it's 2 up front, 3 in the back, but that's 3.
Tower. It's also be note, like, as... Oh, there's a one set right over there. As base, like, not even one of our pilots, not even leveled up or anything, the Zaku's have, like, a 20% chance.
Oh yeah, no,
the
like
Pixie.
you can go and check Fred's stats. Like, he's actually a really good pilot. Like, his reaction is stupidly high, if I remember correctly. and the Pixie itself has a really high mobility. Like, the mobility on the Pixie itself is like 180, and his reaction is 185. So, like, yeah, like, he also has Fighter, which is, yeah, all the beam, basically melee weapon range ones is his default ability. Like, no, he is actually a really good pilot, just again, not anyone we're probably going to recruit because we already have a high-level melee specialist. Oh boy.
Yay. So glad our battleship pilot got land specialist. Well, not pilot, 'cause actually pilot that one as Bright. But
Yeah, no, he's the vice commander or whatever.
second
The,
command.
the one who specifically his command stat matters, because the commander is all stats matter. Which is also humorously why Bright is kind of a halfway decent pilot in and of himself, because they actually gave him decent stats across the board, because he's intended to be one of the best battleship commanders in the game.
Yep.
And so since Commander relies on all stats, they had to give him decent stats for everything. Like, he would never be a top-tier pilot, but he can be an actual decent mid-tier pilot, amusingly. I mean, also, strictly speaking, Land Specialist could work for some battleships. There are a few actual, like, ground battleships in the game.
That is true.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, the Big Tray actually is technically like is a land one, and like a couple others like that. I don't remember if it's actually in this game or not. I think it might be. I know it's in Overworld. The Motorrad absolutely is a ground battleship.
Hey, look, Anne Rose is back. She ran off to get a different suit and join our side. Bounce around all the units. king case. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure we get his pixie just by putting him in there, putting him in a.
yes, there are multiple ways to get his pixie, actually, because you can do that, and there's also one way you can actually like, develop or design. But that being said, it'd be free.
Well, no, again, filling
Well,
out
no,
the-
it adds it to the
buy
production
it.
list, but like, it would mean we wouldn't have to like do the actual development shit to get it. It's a free unlock, is what I mean, not that we get a free actual suit. It's 3 o'clock. We will still have enough time for the next scenario, and even if we run a little longer than usual, we kind of were okay with that as a possibility when we started doing this.
Yeah.
Now they're going like, hey, that's really weird. This thing seems kind of similar to this other mobile suit I've heard that's blue. It's actually right over there.
I don't know what you're talking about. Rapidly developed into Demon 3. Yeah, but as far as I know, the other one doesn't emit horrible, like, robot screeching noises anytime it does anything.
Sounds like it's crying.
Oh darn, we didn't capture special units. Yep, got Fred Raver.
Yep.
Okay.
Or luck.
Now only another 45 ace points.
Well, you know. 31. Okay.
Yeah. Destiny there. 1, 2, 3.
Blue Destiny Unit 3. Does this still have the same problem?
I mean, it still has the exam system, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. The exam system is the new type soul sub?
Yes.
Okay.
Armor 7.
I don't think we can develop anything off of. I'm pretty sure that's like a dead end. Oh no, we actually have some stuff we can downgrade into.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Type Ashmere.
Advance of Zeta. I mean, we could turn it into the Kahar. I'm sure it'll do something, but
Right. Back to blowing things up.
okay, so this is the one where we have the challenge for destroy 20 enemy units within 4 turns.
Easy shit.
Yep. Again, they never quite specify whether, what section that is within, but I'm sure it'll be pretty obvious.
Slightly tougher if we have to use their units, but still possible.
その前に
Depends on what they are,
す
but
べ
you
き
can
こと
use
は
our units. Easy shit.
ジャブローの空におびただしい数の命が散り戦闘は決着した。ジャブローの防衛は鉄壁だった。お偉いさんたちが地下に引きこもりせっせと作り上げただけのことは
I mean, even if we have to use their units, we're either going to have like the Slave Wraith and the Pixie, or we're going to have Doug Schneid's Efreet and Vincent Saku too. So, still plenty of ass beating potential.
Yeah.
量産されたジムの力で撃退したらしいが、これで地球上はようやく安定を取り
We
戻し
may
つ
have
つあ
the
るんだ。
bishop at this point.
こいつが
I
俺たちにはどうやら厄介となっ
we would
た。
have the Bishop yet. I think that's not going to be until next.
俺たちレイスを買うメリットよりもリスクの方が大きくなる頃合いだろう。あの青いジムみたいな資格に黙ってやられるのはごめんだ。さて打てる手は打たせてもらうさ。そこから俺たちの逃避行が始まった。もう地球連邦を頼る
Didn't really trust the Earth Federation in the
ど
first
こに
place.
も味方はいないのに不思議と解放された気持ちだった。
It's basically the point where they're like, yeah, maybe we should keep working for the
グレイブの鎖から解き放
guy
た
who sent us on clandestine missions to wipe out his enemies and is now trying to kill us.
Yeah, go figure.
空へ上がっちまおうと。だが空に上がるには連邦のガードが硬すぎる。そこでジオン部隊としてジオンの基地から空へ上がる。まったくどうかしてる。
Do you happen to remember offhand what our current capital
俺た
is
ちなら
like?
できる気
500
がした。
something?
Okay.
そして俺
Why
たち
so?
は
Just wanted to check because if when we do eventually unlock them, and
They're like
they're
100.
they're 90k each,
Yep.
and we are going to want at least 2.
No, we have like 500 something right now.
Okay, should be good in that regard then.
Or 5/8 of a hot scramble.
Yeah, no, they are. They
Ah,
are.
the base unit in this game. Hot scramble.
They are not the most expensive stuff in the game, but they are kind of stupidly expensive.
And it makes sense. They're a very useful thing.
I think they are also the most expensive, like, normally gettable mod. Because, like, anything that's more expensive than that is the stuff from, like, very special unlocks.
Things that aren't random but are fixed.
Yeah, so, like, the G
Nonsense.
generation emblem, which is, like, 100k, which is just the one that, like, movement is 15. Just sets movement 15. Oh, no, I take it back. Chobham armor is actually more expensive than that.
Oh.
That's also because Chobham armor is kind of gross.
What does the Chobham armor do?
Ranged physical attack damage reduced by 50%.
Fair enough.
The eye field is also the same, and that's ranged beam attacks is reduced by 50%. The Hyper Nano Skin and Solar Panel 3 are both equal in cost. Those are the 20% HP and 50% energy recovery. There's the Dark History Heritage, which is not a normal unlock. That's for beating Haro Haro the Search for Psycho Haro 3 times. You basically get 1 rank of this thing each time you beat it. The first time is the Auto Repair Device, which is 5% energy and HP. Then there's the Auto Repair Device 2, which is 10% HP and energy. And then there's the Dark History Heritage, which costs almost 200,000 each, but is 20% HP and energy recovery every turn. Oh, the barrier field is also actually more expensive and probably overall significantly less useful. It prevents the unit that has it on from taking damage from map weapons.
Sure.
You know, those things that very rarely actually get used against your units.
Like besides the weird ones with like self-destruction and
Yeah.
like the mines.
There is Temray's Circuit, which requires beating the Haro Haro level up trial 1 time. It costs 197,900 capital, but again, is also probably one of the single best mods in the game. All terrain types you actually possess become S.
Oh, that's cute.
It doesn't give you any terrain types you
But just
don't
makes
have,
what you
but
have S.
anything you do have is now S rank. And then the two most expensive things in the entire game, one of which actually I take back, is just a normal gold mod. The Xeon Cross. Earn double ace points.
Oh.
But also costs 500,000.
Sounds all right.
And then the unlimited unit, which requires beating Haro take out those targets, but is unlimited chance steps. Also costs 500,000. I think it's undercosted.
So I'm pretty sure you could throw like that on a hot scramble and just one around any map in the game.
Pretty much, yes.
Then again, it'll eventually run out of energy, but
It
probably.
will eventually run out of energy. That is true. It has a lot of energy, but it will eventually.
Oh, now it's really angry.
Continually attack until you run out of energy, then, rather than clear an entire map.
That being said, though, I will point out, like, yes, you could clear most of a map in a single turn with that on the hot scramble. You are also fielding in excess of 1 million capital as a single unit at that point.
You are. Yeah, you equip your double ace points. You equip your infinite chance step. You equip the like solar panel that's like 50% energy regen.
It's 25.
25, and then you zip around, killing everything until you run out of energy. Wait a turn. Rinse, repeat.
See, I don't know that I would do the double ace points. I would probably do the movement 15.
You already have a pretty stupid movement speed on the...
Either that or the all terrains S.
So Fixer needs to kill...
The Pale Rider.
The Pale Rider.
Yeah, Fixer needs to kill the Pale Rider. And again, this one specifically has the destroy 20 enemy units within 4 turns, but I'm pretty sure that's on part 2. Seeing as I don't think there's even 20 units on the field here.
No, there isn't.
And also considering that is for unlocking Doug Schneid, I'm pretty sure that's a Marcosius side thing.
Yeah, we tend to have, at least for the set of missions these are, typically is like one side then the other. Well, the last one wasn't because we were Federation the entire time, but...
Yeah, it does have a tendency to switch back and forth, essentially.
Fairly accurate.
This is also a serious mission to make sure you're paying attention because, well, Travis Kirkland is Fixer.
Uh-huh. They're not called Fixer.
Yeah, they're not called Fixer.
Yeah, you do need to pay attention to the dialogue where they're like, here's all of our different
To their
like,
call
code names.
signs. Much like the previous mission, we had to get nice to the,
Yeah, like, Fred Raver is easy because he literally has an attack based off of his code name. But, no, everyone else is very much a case of, like, were you paying attention in that one, like, mid-cut scene in Scenario 1 where he went over what everybody's code names are? Because, like, some of them are obvious. Like, you know, Reaper the Ripper, sure, whatever.
Bomb.
Yeah, Bomb is the explosives team. Like, sure. Like, Higher?
Yeah. Yeah, Higher, who was like, that's their
He's a pilot.
Yeah.
His whole thing is he can pilot anything the Federation's ever fielded. Why the fuck does that make his code name Higher?
Always angry.
Yeah, it is worth noting if you pay attention to the little thing on the actual Pale Rider, the place where it shows like who the pilot is just the Hades emblem.
Yep.
Because Hades is piloting that fucking thing, not whatever meat machine is in the seat.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah.
Stop him. There is an actual pilot for the Pale Rider.
Yeah.
I just don't remember her name. Also to make sure that you don't get hit again, because holy shit.
I mean, yeah. At this time, it would be Chloe. Yeah, Chloe Crochet. Or Crochet, or how the fuck do you want to say it? I think it's Crochet.
Yep.
くそやってやる
Well, we missed. Good job, guys.
Well, this could be an issue. That's 50-50 at least.
Yep.
Yes, Chloe, who is, for all intents and purposes, the first instance of, like, what would eventually become cyber new types.
So, meat machines that are in, or she was actually modified to be a new type.
She was not specifically modified to be a new type. She was, however, surgically and chemically altered in the sense that, like, she basically was drugged to hell and back and had, like, actual, like, brain surgery stuff done to make her more receptive to the Hades system.
There we go.
Yep.
And that, again, is kind of the prototype for what would eventually be developed into cyber new type procedures. Although, again, there's not, like, one specific thing that is the cyber new type procedure. There were a bunch of different methodologies used. Some of them surgical, some of them chemical, some of them, like, weird hypnosis shit.
They tried a lot of things.
And all of them just fall under the umbrella of being classified as cyber new type.
I assume some of which were at least moderately effective.
I mean, most of them were effective, just in varying degrees. Like, they all achieved the accomplished goal, they just usually had the side effect of doing horrible things to whoever they were done to.
Typically effective. Not necessarily, like, morally right.
I mean, as utterly fucking horrifying as it is to say, probably the single most stable cyber new type in existence with Kuru 2.
Yeah, probably. Still not good.
No! Not even fucking remotely. That's why I said it's horrifying to say that.
How so?
We'll get there.
Okay.
And I mean, I guess to be fair, Kurutu was doing mostly okay until she found out there were like 24 other clones ready to back up in the event she died, and that didn't do good things for her psychologically.
At least that dickbag got shot with a mega particle cannon.
Oh god, it's gonna feel so gratifying when we get there and get to fucking murder the shit out of Glenny.
Lemmy is such a piece of shit.
That's one of those, like, here are like the top 3 most cathartic things you get to do in games that go through UC Gundam. Kill Glemmy. Number 2, kill Glemmy but harder. Number 3, sometimes you get to witness the scene where Camille's dad dies.
kindly fuck off. The hover truck alone.
Hey, you put it out there.
Has a useful ability. Oh, it actually does a shield punch.
Yeah. Yeah, they do intentionally design these things with multiple purposes. That little like hook on the shield there is a claw for actually attacking things. B, designed to be planted into the ground to use the shield as like a position for like mounting heavier weapons too for stability.
I'm just used to the use that the shield still just do like a regular beam saber attack and not actually use the shield.
No, it does.
But I guess it makes sense for.
Yeah, I think it also. I think it also has a beam saber, but. Or, no, it doesn't.
No,
It
just
actually
has a
default melee is short shield. Okay.
I mean, he has a like gun cannon,
Yeah.
like customized to have. Like,
Yeah.
A beam rifle, a anti-air cannon, the bazooka rocket, and then just has like a ground type shield.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, there's nothing that stops any mobile suit from carrying practically any handheld armament.
Kind of. The big thing is, like, especially for a lot of the... Well, again, so we've talked about this a bit. Some beam weaponry is based off the generator of the mobile suit rather than its own independent energy source. So that is a limiting factor. And then also just in some cases there is like an actual like practicality issue in the sense of like, again, mobile suits sometimes are deployed directly to whatever battlefield they're going to engage in, but oftentimes have to travel. And if a suit isn't particularly designed to actually like stow a particular armament for travel purposes, it can be cumbersome to actually travel with and impact their ability to move. That's usually for much heavier things like bazookas and whatnot, though.
Yeah. Things that would legitimately tax the system somehow.
I mean, it's mostly just a practicality thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to have to actually be like carrying it like on your shoulder as you're moving because it's going to impact your speed. Whereas if it is a unit designed with that armament type in mind, usually there's somewhere on there to actually like rig it onto like the backpack or have some sort of mount for it.
Or for some weapons, you'll destroy your mobile suit because you fired them.
Yes, that also does happen.
It could be the beam magnum.
Could be the beam magnum.
And the unicorn was designed specifically to be able to use the beam magnum.
Because it was too powerful for basically any other suit to actually use. It would at best obliterate the arm that fired it.
That's why the Silverbolt suppressor has multiple arms that it swaps out when it fires the beam magnum. So it basically destroys one of its arms and replaces it with a new arm.
Yeah, the gun doesn't need to be reloaded. The arm does.
The gun is fine. The suit firing is not. I actually don't mind these ones where you control, like, you have to do actual stuff in units. Because the slave race are actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really annoying when you had to do stuff with, like, say, like 8th MSP.
Here's, like, 3 Zaku's, have fun.
Yeah, or like 8th MS team, where it's like, even though the ground type is fine, it's not a powerful unit, and you're having to do some, you're having to fight fucking Norris Packard.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck me. Especially when the challenges keep any of the gun tanks from being
alive.
destroyed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
It can't hit, like, it's not even useful. It's like, oh yeah, I can fire my cannon. It has like a 10% hit chance.
Yeah, like these, the Slave Wraith and Marcosius at least have, like, unique enough units. Like, yeah, Marcosius mostly are fielding just regular Zaku 2s, but you still have Doug's Knights of Free, and you've got Vincent's Zaku 2, which is a unique unit in and of itself.
But like, this is
So
we
they're
have a
still
Slave
entertaining
Wraith. Like, we have the Pixie. We have
Yeah.
a unique gun cannon.
Yeah, it's not like most of the other ones where they're like, your team is a bunch of gyms. Like,
Yeah.
Like, a team all of custom units that can do various things and are reasonably durable. It's not like, oh, I took one to hit and I need to hide now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they can take a hit, and then typically the HP and the energy regen that happens naturally will get them back out of critical as long as they only really took the one hit.
And supposed to the job, but then this Banshee showed up. That'd be dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, he could, but it'd be dumb.
He hasn't. He has at this point tried to kill him.
Twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say,
Oh.
as we get there, because now that we have it, I do want us to check one thing, which to me will determine whether or not we should recruit Fred. Like, I don't care if we use him or not, but it should determine whether or not we do recruit him. We need to go check and see if we can press the button and turn him into his older version.
See if it can be two forms. We'll check out this mission.
Yeah, because this Fred, whatever. Unicorn era Fred?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Ah. Well, that was quick.
So. and wait for a turn or two to heal and get your energy back, then just charge right through. That's what the problem is. Oh god, you don't think their friends are going to show up, do you?
That green suit showed up and I got a really bad headache. Fucking excuse you.
He cannot possibly be this stupid. He is possibly this stupid.
Travis is also isn't 100% lying. Like, they're not, but he kind of is. Travis is a very complicated character.
After my friends kicked your ass.
Yeah, because like the whole thing with Travis is like, yes, technically he is a Earth Federation soldier and kind of always has been, but also he did marry a woman from side 3 and have a child, and that was the whole thing. Like, they didn't talk about it. Like, his whole thing was he was accused of being a spy because he was trying to get in touch with his family on side 3, which is a Xeon colony.
Yeah.
And so it's like, he's not like, when he's like, oh, we're actually like a Xeon infiltration group, it's like, he's not totally being truthful, but also he's also just kind of being like, well, fine, if they're going to accuse me of being a spy, fuck it.
Well, and also at this point, they've already effectively
Decided,
abandoned the Federation.
Yeah.
Their whole plan is, we're going to go into a Xeon base and go to space with Xeon.
I mean, also, spoilers, Travis does survive this and also looks way better 20 years later.
こんな愉快な時間は長く続かない。連邦の総攻撃が間近に迫っている。
Okay.
He retires and opens a junk shop.
California base.
All right, California base.
A mission where I don't have to check HLVs and or destroy HLVs.
yes, unfortunately, we do not get the cavalry / Dulan.
No. I don't even think they existed at the time this game was made. I don't remember if the
Maybe
manga
not.
they came from were actually around at that point. I remember when they did all the Pale Rider expansion stuff.
Let's see, actually. 2014 was when the Missing Link manga started getting published. Although the cavalry and such was more towards the back end of that. That being said, I do know that the Pale Rider cavalry was in the original Gundam battle operation. So it would have been put in around the time that it was that was happening. That it was like it basically would have been added in probably at about the same time it was
33
shown
units.
off in the manga.
So destroy 20 units, time limit for better, basically.
Well, and if we get the challenge, that is also a quest. That is how we unlock Doug Schneid to recruit. I believe the Missing Link manga had actually ended by the time G-Gen Genesis came out. Let's see though. I don't remember offhand when the actual release date for Generation Genesis.
I don't remember either. Some time ago.
November, the end of November in 2016.
So it was out, so.
Yeah, because Missing Link also ended in 2016. I don't know exactly which month, but almost certainly by the end of November of that year. And at the very least, the cavalry would have shown up by then.
Yeah.
So. I mean, it's fine. They just decided not to include it. It's not. They are not obligated to include every mobile suit that has ever been in the UC thing. It is just kind of weird that they would include the base Pale Rider and the Totus Ritter, but not like the cavalry and the Dulahan.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't include everything. Just like we didn't get the Anaverse version of.
Yeah.
And that does appear in the game.
Does kind of beg the question though, because like as I've said before, I'm desperately hoping that the next G-Gen game goes back to the sort of mashup story style that the ones prior to Genesis had. Just because I found those really interesting and really fun. But at the same time, I also want them to be like super comprehensive and like, but that would also involve having like probably like 600 units. There's just like a ludicrous number of units in the game. Especially because by then we're going to have, like, because this again was technically released before Unicorn was done.
Was this released before Unicorn was done?
Maybe. No.
This is
Unicorn.
post-Unicorn.
Yeah, Unicorn would have been wrapped up.
This is before IBO.
Yeah, it is before IBO, but IBO stuff is in Crossrays.
Yeah, the Crossrays is after IBO.
But yeah, other stuff that we will have by then is, again, so as we've kind of discussed before too, I would think it would be cool to include some of the build stuff in there, and also to have whatever the hell we're gonna get from Witch from Mercury.
Mobile suits.
Well, we've seen 3 of them so far.
Yeah.
We've seen the kits for Gundam Aerial. I don't remember what the other 2 were called, but
Gundam something else and something else entirely.
yeah. The other thing I would actually like to see more of is more G-Reco stuff. Because while the series itself I don't think was very good as it ended up coming out, the designs are awesome. And I really do like the
G-Reco is the G-Cell?
But like in this one, for instance, like the G-Self is technically in here.
Is it?
No, it's not in this one. It's in Crossrays, but it's like a special unlock and like only has like one version. I don't think the G-Self is in here. If it was, it would be another one of those like very special unlock things. Let me take a check on this real quick. Because, like, technically this game was released while IBO was running, because that's why the Barbatos is in here, but not like the Lupus or the Lupus Rex.
Well, I think this was released right before IBO, and I'm pretty sure the Barbatos...
It was around the same time.
It was included as a promotional thing.
Yes, the G-Self is actually in here. Okay. It is the G-Self Perfect Pack only. And it's one of those
Stupid
that is...
requirements.
Uh-huh. It is, after destroying Turn A Gundam Dark History, defeat the secret unit. So it's like a post-game unit. I don't know if we're going to make it. We'll have 4 more turns to defeat 6 units.
It's questionable.
Haven't even deployed some of our most powerful units yet. Nope. Yeah, I would like to see more G-Reco stuff in there. Obviously, we'll have the Mercury stuff by then, so that would be nice to see. Ooh. What if that's part of the SRW 30 announcement?
They're going to add...
Witch from Mercury tie-in.
That'd be a cool way.
That would be super fucking cool. Like, that didn't even occur to me until I was just talking about it. I was like, oh, because it's all Bandai.
Yeah.
Like, I don't imagine they would release it super soon because, again, the series itself isn't until like October. But it could be an announcement of like, hey, we're gonna have a Witch from Mercury like scenario tie, and that would be pretty cool. I mean, I'm not highly expecting that, but it's definitely a potential now that I think about it.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
One turn.
Not even all our units in one turn.
Not even a full turn. Yeah.
It's amazing how these things fuel up faster as we destroy enemy units somehow.
No, clearly the announcement is going to be the thing that's going to make Krampus and I lose our absolute ever-loving shit. But with the success of the Ultraman tie-in, we've decided we're going to tie in other tokusatsu shows. So here's our Kamen Rider DLC back.
Oh, look, garbage behind this.
Yep.
We've decided to announce we're going the opposite direction, and we're just merging Superhero Generation into SRW now. That game was already weird as shit, and somehow involved Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and Gundam.
Be the worst. Map attack.
Yep.
Yep, snipers.
7 turns, got it. Blah, blah, blah.
It's just to kill everything, isn't it?
To get our stuff to the various.
Yeah, we have to get
Exit
into those
points.
green zones.
Ah, okay. Get into those green zones with the guest units effectively.
Yep.
Yeah, basically all of Slave Raid the Marcosians need to get the fuck out of here. The focused large beam rifle. Otherwise known as fuck this one guy in particular. You're a gun cannon heavy arm type? That's cute.
Lived.
I mean, yes, because,
One of the each unit things.
yeah.
少しは楽しませてくれないとな
That has, like, double the stats it normally would.
These dumb weapons.
It's a tiny dumb fuck thing.
Just glowy blade things.
Yep.
Everything about Advance of Zeta nonsense. I should be able to capture from that unit, I think. Pretty sure we got it.
That's a. I didn't put
Oh, I
cap.
did put a capture on that one. Okay. Fair enough. The enhanced witch cannon.
The regular witch cannon, but better.
There we go.
Now turn this into the.
Gadfly.
Exactly obligated.
私もこれでなかなか大変なんですよ
Take that, jet core booster.
Such devastation! This was not my intention!
Almost double the thing's fucking health.
It's so gratuitously unnecessary. I need more energies. Fire more than once.
It is worth noting, for those curious, the GPO-2 here is going to be one of the units in our final team, mostly because of how funny it is to hit things with the atomic bazooka. Like, it's also one of Krampus's favorite mobile suits in Gundam, but also it's just really funny to hit things with the atomic bazooka.
Also don't get field capture. And one. Of course, okay.
Are you trying to figure out?
I have to specifically
Oh,
have.
they go to the right teams.
Yes, they go to the right teams. It's not just any of them. You have to specifically the Xeon units in the bottom.
Marcosius at the yellow one, and Slave Wraith at the green. Got it.
Yeah.
This side. How dare you?
Apologies about that. I had to step away for a moment.
In a moment. Yeah, it should be fine. Yay, we are
Got the Xeon Cross.
And we can't take a screenshot now.
Yeah, the game in general just has screenshots and like sharing disabled.
Yeah.
Because she needed that.
Uh-huh. The normal burn fire.
Yep. Which is apparently we just light the Gundam on fire and ram into things.
Yep.
It is worth noting the Xeon Cross achievement we got there is not about getting the Xeon Cross item. It's its own achievement, which I believe is for having done over 3,000 attacks.
Ah.
I am working through Google Translate here, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, because I was about to be like, I'm sure the Xeon Cross is a gold mod. Like, just edited it random.
Left side is clear.
Well, he didn't die.
Stronger attack then.
Yeah, that one did.
Shield boosted rifle.
Whatever that means.
It's a shield rifle of some sort.
Or just wonder what the boosting means.
There we go.
これ以上お前の好きにはさせない
An effective shot that probably misses.
無駄よ迷ってなんかいられない私だって戦えるんだから
There you go. Shield boosted rifle. That's perfect sense, right?
悪あがきもここまでよ
I don't see what you're not getting.
So apparently they're universal nonsense long pointy bits.
Look, Gundam franchise has a long history of long pointy bits. Gun, but B.
Oh no. My critical weakness. Not having enough energy to kill them.
So it is somewhat a translation thing. The armaments on the Heijin Thalitira are more commonly called a composite shield booster. It is a multifunctional shield used as both a long beam rifle and a claw for melee combat. It also includes a targeting sensor and an eye field generator, and can function as a winch unit. The winch unit can operate as a wired bit.
It can also make pancakes.
Like pancakes.
Then there's the long blade rifle, which I believe is what that attack is actually using, which is it can be used as a regular beam rifle. It also doubles as a shield, and it can also produce a heat blade. And can also transform into a miniature mobile suit, which can be used like an incom.
What?
Advance of Zeta is entirely fucking nonsense.
The way to kiss her ass goodbye.
私ですか
What the fuck is that?
それ
Such devastation! This was not my intention!
This is why Coronado was sent to the penal group.
Yeah, I'll bet defense down.
Now the question is, do I have an energy boost skill? Let's pick out the other.
Nope.
No.
That being said, keeping Coronado piloting the GPO2 is probably not a terrible idea because of his actual abilities.
power piercing or anti-large?
Anti-large is going to end up being more damaging. Because it's 30% damage increase versus 20%. No, because the difference.
It has an extra
the base,
1400
yeah, the
damage.
base power difference is going to be more than the difference in.
Oh, that only goes to me.
Yeah, that's not a targeted one.
There we go.
I don't think the nuke guy can fire again. That's a very small comfort right now.
You're correct. Nuke guy could not fire again.
On the other hand, we have weapons that are far more damaging than the nuke.
Only because the base power of that thing is higher than the nukes, or higher than the base power attack of the Nightingale is significantly
Is higher than the
GPO2.
GPO2. Yeah.
The GPO2 is a more powerful attack. The suit is not as strong. Like, this thing has 300 attack, whereas the GPO2 is probably near 200? 194.
194, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, this is a 10k strength, so 7k more strength on the attack than the...
3K, yeah.
Or 3k more strength than the attack, but...
It's like A ignores 20% of defense and also has like more than 100 more points of base attack.
Yeah.
Which is like a multiplicative thing.
There's that double damage swing.
Yep. All right, that got a capture.
Yep. Yes, because that was one that was deployed by the big thread.
I'm leaving.
Oh, fine then. Bye, Anna Rose. See you literally over there.
I'm very confused. I saw myself, so I'm leaving. It's just some sort of weird doppelganger situation where we just both see each other and get destroyed.
We're going to chalk this up to weird new type nonsense and leave the battlefield. I should move up the remaining.
Yeah. Dixie and that one. Zaku.
Trying to get something close enough to actually do the capture on this thing.
Yeah.
Is that all the...
Your
Yeah.
other carrier is not moved.
No, it's fine.
I should be able to get the Nightingale over there next
Yeah,
turn.
just grab the Nightingale. Bounce around between all of our units, give them energy.
Yep. The side effect of everything in energy regen.
Yeah, if we can get to the slightly upgraded version of the ceiling launchers, they have longer range,
Like
which is
5
nice.
as opposed to 3.
Range 5 is the maximum one, yeah.
Actually, let's just see if we have...
Salvage Omega.
Salvage the battlefield.
Yeah, you only get to use it once per scenario, but it will capture everything on the battlefield that's white flagged.
Yep.
It's actually what I primarily do in Overworld, because at least as far as I have done, I have not unlocked an actual mod that actually adds it on there, so it's only on certain units. But one of my 2 masters just has free capture. That's one of the master skills that Uso gets. It's actually like his first one, if I recall correctly. It's just like literally his default. So I just basically leave capturable units on the battlefield until the very end, and then just pop 1 free capture and capture like 15 things all at once. Oh. All right then.
That's the last enemy unit?
Yep. Yes, it still makes you do the thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even when there are no other enemies on the field and nothing that could even potentially stop it from happening.
There are things that could stop it from happening in a regular mission. Like, you could be, like, all the way on the...
Yeah, but
over
like,
to the left with one of the units because you sent them to actually do a bunch of the killing. Didn't do it in 1 turn. It's dumb. You're dumb. Pretty sure you can all leave. We'll just have these friends who showed up take care of all this.
Yeah, I mean, Anna Rose is over there and whatever the fuck that is.
That's just a rebuilt version of a suit that is based off the mobile armor that's destroyed that she'll pilot a rebuilt version of in the future.
She says it's named the Malarkey. And you're free to launch.
I put it into the identifier computer and it just started screaming.
I mean, it's fitting that we have Anna Rose basically the rebuilt version of the successor to the
Yes. Yeah.
since we don't have the actual rebuilt Clemans to put her in.
It's me, generic Earthwraith guy.
Yep.
It's me, Poltergeist.
Thought they were dead, but they're not.
We got Doug Schneid and Marvin Harriet, who gets freaking thinking that. And with that, we're going to call it there for today. Thank you again for joining us for another Super Robot Sunday here on Sound Goblin Gaming. Please join us again tomorrow for Poke Mondays with what is absolutely, definitely, certainly a Pokemon game. Absolutely, no questions. Join us again on Tuesday for more Phoenix Point. Next Saturday, we'll be starting up Chapter 4 of Danganronpa V3. And then join us again back here on next Sunday for the remainder of the Missing Link section of G-Gen Genesis. Till then, I've been Bograt.
I've been the Krampus.
I've been Shiv.
And I'm Vincent.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye. All right, that's my job.